But let's talk about tonight. The theme for tonight, to me, guys, just seemed like the size, the rebounding. Once again for Minnesota, too tough. They had their way with the Lakers. We'll get to Rudy Gobert in a minute. But we had game 18 offensive rebounds in game 4. They backed it up tonight, out-rebounding the Lakers by 17. 18 more offensive rebounds that led to 20 points. And Rudy Gobert, who basically wasn't a huge impact in this series at all. He had 14 points through 4 games. Tonight, they had no answer for him. 27 points. He was a plus 18, and he had 24 rebounds.
Yeah, it's a game of making counters, okay? The Lakers made a counter starting Vinny Smith. Minnesota Timberwolves made a counter that they were going to have Gobert hoover around the goal. They knew they could penetrate. They knew they didn't have a shot blocker, and it worked to perfection for Minnesota tonight. He stayed around that rim whenever Edwards or whenever Conley or anybody forced the Lakers to help. He was there, hoovering over the rim, and you just couldn't stop it. So to go along with the rest of the size, Randall, 6'9", 6'10", Nas, 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", and, they were a big team, and they outsized us, and they outmuscled us. And Gobert in this game, after not having, big games before, whatever changes they made, they included him in a lot of easy buckets underneath. He got a lot of catches right underneath, a lot of lobs right underneath. They collapsed the defense. We did not have a shot blocker. They did not feel intimidated at all. So he had a big night.
And big game, I think you have to mention it because this Minnesota team shot their worst of the series. They were 40% from the field. They were a tick under 15% from 3. Rob, they shot 47 threes and made just 7 of them. Ant, who was the best player in the series and was phenomenal, was 0 for 11 from 3. So Rudy Gobert's 9 offensive rebounds and the team's 18, and what Rudy was able to do. And you mentioned this, too, at halftime. They always had someone in the dunker spot, whether it was Rudy or McDaniels or Nas or somebody, even DiVincenzo. And once they broke down that defense, that guy was open.
It's always amazing to me how coaches make changes to the lineup, but they sometimes won't make changes to their game plan. This game plan tonight was bad from the beginning. You think about this, they were double teaming Ant, which kind of caused him to shoot the ball bad, but they're a smart team. What they did was, we're just going to kick it to the middle, like that's what you do on all presses, and then what are we going to do then? We're going to give it to our big guy underneath. Why? Because we starting guys that know, the biggest guy is LeBron James. And for me, that happened once, that happened twice, that happened 3 times. After that, get out of it. But they're so hard-headed thinking that, my game plan is going to work. It did not work. And it's all about adjustments. Yeah, you can try it. It sounded good. It looked good on paper. But it's not the same when you work on it in practice and you don't have a 7'2" guy like Rudy Gobert to show you how it's really going to be implemented. And for me, that was that really irked me about this defense. It's like they kept trying to do it. And after that, okay, Rudy Gobert is getting rebound after rebound. You got Jackson Hayes over there. At least try something with him because everything else ain't working. And for me, it was just, as coaches, and, I'm not going to blame JJ. I'm not going to blame the assistant coaches because sometimes assistant coaches can't convince a head coach to do something different. And for me, it was just, you have to be smarter as a coach. And it's just things they need to, assess in the summer, but they definitely need a big. And they definitely need to say, hey, we need to go in there with a plan A and a plan B and a plan C in case A or B don't work. And tonight I thought plan A didn't work, and they just stuck with it way too long.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to break down this series, and I appreciate your guys' insight. Fourth quarter is going to be talked about for a long time, the fourth quarter woes. There are clutch stats that they do in the last 5 minutes of the game. The Minnesota Timberwolves were the best of the 16 teams in the playoffs in the fourth quarter. James, the Lakers were the worst team. If you want to just look at a stat right there, I mean, all these games were super close. Yeah. Now, outside of game 1, when I thought Minnesota was basically in control, the Lakers had a case to win all the rest of the games, especially the 2 in Minnesota. But the fourth quarter, James, again, and we were hoping it would turn and it would change the whole series because they were down by 1, 81-80. But, only 16 points, only 6 for 20. Only got to the line a couple of times.
2 turnovers.
Minnesota got there 8, they were 8 of 10. They got there more. And it was just tough. And you look at it right here, James, -6, -7, -10, -13, -6. And listen, the whole game matters. And all the stuff Rob talked about and you've talked about. But when you just want to take one stat, you look at the fourth quarter, there's the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to digest this graph right here, because to be that, poor in the fourth quarter, the adjustments aren't being made throughout the game, in my opinion. The Lakers, they ran the pick and roll with Luka high, LeBron high. It was so easy to defend that. They ran one play out of a timeout, and it was really good play. Executed, Reeves got a shot, didn't make it, but it made the defense move around a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, there's a few things to look at. I mean, Minnesota, first of all, to match up with them, that was a tough matchup. I don't care what anybody say.
Well,
they're big, they're strong, they're long, they play well,
great defensive team,
and they got the defense to back it up. So I was a little concerned. But when we gave up game 1 at home, you cannot give up home court advantage.
Yeah. Then
they start sniffing blood, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think what frustrated, JJ, the Lakers, everybody, you guys, the way the Lakers were playing offense at that pace, it was easier for Minnesota to guard. I mean, Minnesota was guarded one-on-one. They didn't have to switch a lot. It allowed Rudy and Nas to play that drop coverage. And when they did get that matchup, Nas and Rudy did a good job. And they out-rebounded the Lakers, limited their field goal attempts, Rob. Caused a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, caused a lot of turnovers. And I'm going to go back to show you how smart certain teams can be. You remember when there was a lull in the game when nobody can score? What did Minnesota do? They went to their bull. Mm-hmm. They went to Julius Randle and said, get on the block.
Yeah.
We're going to get in the block, and they're going to get 2 points. Sometimes 2 points to break that ice is so good. And you think about what we did. Oh, let's shoot a jump. Let's shoot a bad shot. Let's let the shot clock run down. Because when the Minnesota Timberwolves on the offense end, they were direct with their plays. They were precise with their plays. It was no hanging around. You look at every play they did, it was an active play. And what I mean by that is they went fast. Then they kicked the ball and they moved it. It was no out there playing with the ball, size you up, trying to beat. You ain't going to beat these Minnesota Timberwolves. If you do, you run into the Stifle Tower back there. So why are you trying to beat? And that goes to show you need some type of plays. You need some guys coming off some screens for some jump shots. And maybe you don't have that type of team. But you got Gabe Vincent who can do stuff like. You got the way Rui Hachimura was playing, you have that.
Reeves, too.
And for me, so many times we move to the analytical part of basketball where we talk about shooting these threes. And if you look, they shot the ball poorly from 3 and still won.
7 of 47.
Because of Rudy Gobert, the points in the paints, the offensive rebound nature. Yeah. So you're going to have to be able to have some type of offense other than one-on-one. I just felt like when you're going up against a defensive team like this, that's aggressive. Think of how many times we backdoored and we scored.
Yeah.
That's what you do with aggressive defenses. You backdoor them. Hey, JJ, get you one of them Princeton coaches on your side.